Good to see everyone. Hello, my name is Josh. Welcome to the Vinci Hair podcast. Today we've got an amazing guest for you, all the way from Reykjavik, Iceland. It's really great to welcome you, Thor Bjornsson. I got the naming convention correct, yes?
Yeah, not bad. Thor Bjornsson. You could have said it better, but it's okay. I'll let it slide.
Welcome to London. How you
you.
feeling? Day one post surgery. How you feeling?
Day one post surgery. I'm feeling good actually. This experience yesterday was very easy. Very comfortable, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
I actually fell asleep.
Did you?
One part, yeah.
My God. So would you reckon that's because you knew what to expect second time around?
Well, I actually was expecting it to be more painful. This time around, I felt nothing. Literally nothing.
Really?
So I was just laying there, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice." So there's some people like touching my head. I was like, "Oh."
And then you just drifted
All
off.
of a sudden, there's just like he took a video of me. My brother of mine took a video of me, and he showed me later, and I was just snoring there.
Really?
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Guys, don't like.
Yeah. It's not that bad.
Get hair transplant because like you look beautiful, but. And it can be pain-free.
It can be, like it was. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just ask for more anesthesia.
Just keep asking for much more anesthesia. You'll be absolutely fine.
More until you feel nothing.
I mean, you've really put your body through it this year, huh? How is the pack?
The pack is good. Obviously, for the viewers, I got injured April 15th. It's been 14 plus weeks.
Yeah.
14 weeks post surgery now, and but it's feeling better each and every week.
Yeah,
I'm able to put my hand up.
Yeah,
I obviously feel some stretch here, but I feel good though. I feel good, and I'm very optimistic for a full recovery.
Yeah, and one of the things we were speaking, when I did my ACL and my cruciate ligament, for me it was a case of like I was then quite paranoid about going into physical sports thereafter.
Yeah.
Obviously for you going back into the training, training is such a big part of your life, right? How is that? How have you found that? Obviously, effectively starting again in some ways.
The biggest challenge for me has been just not training. Has been to take the time off to let my body heal. Has been the biggest challenge for me. And now, since I finished the herb transplant, I was just talking to the doctor yesterday. He told me I had to rest for 2 weeks. No training. I was like, fuck. Seriously? Like
2 weeks?
Yeah, because he says, when you train, your blood pressure obviously rises and you sweat. And that will affect the hair follicle, like the new hair that you put in, It might affect them not connecting, properly to the,
That's right, yeah. So the graft itself doesn't seal effectively.
Yeah. So for maximum benefits, no training for 2 weeks.
No training for 2 weeks, but you can travel.
I can travel. I can do basically anything else. And it's gonna be tough for me not to train.
I can imagine, because it's such a, it must form for you must form such a discipline and such a form of your life, right? It's
also because like I tore my pec obviously.
Yeah.
And I've been away from training now for so long, and I feel like I'm not in shape, and I feel good when I'm in shape, and I feel good when I'm training.
Sure.
So, like, I want to get back into training. I want to stay consistent. So it's really challenging for me to like not go to the gym.
Yeah, of course. Train. Do you feel? I don't know. Do you feel almost like a sense of guilt not doing it?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of my life. It's my whole life, and I have such a big fan base that follows me because of my training, because of who I am. I want to see me lift heavyweight, so I kind of feel small guilt of not being able to go to the gym and get stronger. Yeah.
Do you feel? And that guilt is that's both for the fan base, but also for yourself, I guess, as well, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Like I. First and foremost, I'm doing it because I love it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But secondly, I'm doing it because I have a great fan base that love seeing me being strong and support me in that field. So I feel, I definitely.
I also think, injuries are they're so commonplace as well. Maybe that in and of itself is actually quite interesting to see, right? I think there's sort of quite a famous video of you with the 5 kilo dumbbells, right?
Yeah.
Doing the bench press of well, it wasn't bench, but the pec muscle movement of 5 kilos, right?
Yeah.
I think with people who do get injured, it's good to see that. Firstly, you're not superhuman. It can happen to anyone, but also to see the road to recovery. I think it was Matt Morsia from Matt Does Fitness ruptured his Achilles. Chris Williamson ruptured his Achilles. So there's actually a lot of people who have gone through this, and it's also quite interesting to see the stages, right, of recovery.
The journey back.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. People, I've seen, when I post those videos where I'm just lifting like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatsoever, they get inspired by that.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, it's nice to see that Thors stuff somewhere as well. Like, so a lot of people do.
Does that ever? Do you ever sit back and suddenly think, actually, I am actually inspiring lots of people, not just the recovery stage, but actually to get off the sofa, to actually go out there and engage in physical activities. Do you ever sometimes think, fuck, that's a big responsibility with the amount of fan base, with the size of the fan base that you do have? Is there ever something you sometimes sit back and think, this is actually, like, I'm actually really having an impact on people's lives, or not? Or do you take it all in your stride?
For sure, I do, and I don't take it for granted. It's a pressure, honestly, that it's hard to describe.
Okay.
You feel obligated in posting and just staying active on social media, which can be sometimes difficult when you are maybe not feeling like you want to post. I've been dealing with that lately, just lack of motivation to stay active on social media. Why is that? Just happens, I think. Like with everything, it's just it's a job. It's something that it's just like with sometimes people get bored with their jobs.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just like finding the content as well to post and the captions. I've been doing it for 15 years. It just gets tiring or something.
Yeah, of course.
But, I was very lucky. For so long, it just became so natural to me.
It just becomes second nature almost.
It just, for a whole decade plus, I just did it without thinking.
Yeah.
As I age, it's just like, I understand the value. I understand how important other things in life are as well. Such as being a family guy.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, everything was around lifting weights, social media, being strong. Everything was about that. Now, as I'm getting older, I put more time around my family, my children, and like when my son is done kindergarten, the first thing I do is just like be with him. I'm literally obsessed of trying to be as good of a father as I can. I'm always trying to fight to become better. Yeah. Because we can all become better. Always. That's just something that we can all try to be and yeah, it's my son is actually away now. He's in Canada with his mom. Yeah. They are staying there 6 weeks total. So
Canada's beautiful, isn't it?
It's a beautiful place.
It's unbelievable.
Yes. So yeah, it's balancing everything can be challenging.
What does your boy make of you and the fact? Obviously, you're his dad. So, but is he at the age where he's realizing your status is probably a big word, but is he understanding now that sort of that what you do for in terms of like producing the content or the training, or is he beginning to cotton onto that now?
So my son is turning 3 in September. Okay. So no, he's not.
He's still a bit too young.
He's not. But my daughter is 14, and she obviously understands.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. What does she make of it?
She's super down to earth person.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And it's funny because like I could, give her a lot of things and treat her, but she never asks for anything. She's so humble and she's so down to earth, and she never ever asks me for money. Like it's more like I am like, hey, do you need something? Like, do you want me to buy you something? Like,
Yeah.
She's super, like, for a 14-year-old, like, she's amazing.
Super smart. You have the sort of the physique that you have is that of a superhero, but you're always going to be the superhero for her and the boy, right? Like that's.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope so.
So she and her mother live in Iceland.
So I have my daughter. I had in a different relationship.
Yep.
When I was young, I had her actually when I was 21.
Okay.
And she lives in Denmark.
Does she?
Yeah, but I see her every month though.
Okay.
So
yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
But I remember when I moved, it was very challenging, obviously.
Yeah.
Not being able to see her as often.
Yeah.
But we really put a massive effort in seeing each other.
Yeah, of course.
We both
Yeah.
want to see each other a lot.
Yeah.
So she comes every other month to Iceland. I go every month to
That's cool.
to
Huh?
Denmark. So
And your family, obviously, your roots are all in Iceland.
Yeah.
And you grew up there as well.
Yeah.
Predominantly, or were you traveling around, or just?
All my childhood, I stayed in Iceland.
Yeah.
We didn't really travel a lot.
Okay.
When I was a kid, my first actually international travel was when I was like maybe 14, when I was traveling with because I was playing basketball. I was
Yeah, of
traveling
course.
with
Yeah.
my nation, because I was in the national team in basketball.
Yeah.
For my age.
So it's like is it like a junior division, or
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, like junior division or whatever you call it,
Yeah.
And we would travel, that was my first ever travel outside of
amazing.
Iceland.
What was that like?
It was cool. It was
Yeah.
cool. And then I would like travel more and more and more
Yeah.
with because of basketball.
Of
and
course.
then my second travel was because of Strongman. So I never really traveled otherwise.
Amazing.
Except obviously when I got older, and then I went on vacations and stuff like that.
I should say, I'm actually, speaking of traveling, I'm actually going to Croatia tomorrow, and we'll come on to Croatia.
Nice.
Now, you should, in theory, know quite a lot about that part of the world.
I've been to Croatia.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, quite often actually. As some of the viewers might know, I've been to Croatia because of Game of Thrones. Went to Dubrovnik, went to Split.
That's where I'm going, Split tomorrow.
Nice.
And then we're taking a ferry to Hvar.
Okay.
So
I've only been to Split and Dubrovnik.
Okay.
Both great places.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed both places, but spent more time in Dubrovnik.
Yeah. So rewind a little bit. So obviously with the basketball, have you always been into physical exercise?
100%.
Have you always been a physical person?
Absolutely. As a young boy, I don't know why, I was just so physical, and I just loved, like, as a young boy at a farm with my grandparents, my grandparents on the farm for 40 plus years, and even I remember myself like being like 12, 13, I was just at the farm. I went outside in the morning before I went to work to run.
Really?
Because I was just so active.
God, yeah.
Yeah, and then I would just do push-ups, chin-ups.
Really?
Yeah,
Even at that age?
At that age, because I didn't want to. I felt like I was so tall, and I felt like a tall man, without muscles. And,
Okay.
and I wanted to have muscles, so I was very obsessed with having a physique.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would just do push-ups, like 200 push-ups a day.
Okay.
And 200 chin-ups and sit-ups as well.
Yeah. But no one was telling you to do this. This all came
no one
from.
was telling me to do it. I just
People
did
probably
it.
thought what they said it was
I was
doing.
just like at the young age, it just felt good to get the pump, and
Yeah.
I saw the muscles would change from the pump.
Even at that age.
Even at that age, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
Good genetics, and then it just increased and increased over the years.
Amazing. I mean, of course, basketball is obviously height plays a big role in basketball, but it's not just physical strength; it's also cardio. It's the energy that's required.
Yeah.
But it's quite a transition it's still quite a transition, I guess, from basketball to strongman.
100%.
What were some of the challenges that you found? I mean, obviously, a lot of what happened in terms of you changing from basketball to strongman was injury related, correct? I think I've got that right. Was it?
That's correct. The reason why I stopped playing basketball was because of injury.
Mhm.
I was dealing with a bad injury year after year. I got frustrated, so stopped training. You know, I was young as well. I was like 17, 18. You know, started to party a little bit, drink more, and got a little bit distracted. I was always like I never really. It was a time period in my life where I did party more, go out, nightlife, drink more, and that was just because I got distracted with my sport. I got distracted. Now I didn't have that goal to try to become the best basketball player as possible. I wanted to become a professional basketball player, but that dream kind of got fucked up.
Yeah.
And I got, I guess, interested in the nightlife, you know, friends, going out.
And you were 17, right?
I was 17, you know, 17, yeah, 16, 17, where, you know, I started to like, you know, obviously like all guys, you know, hey, like I'm kind of bored of like training twice, 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I want to just like go out, have fun.
Meet girls, all the rest of it.
Meet girls,
Yeah,
all those things, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, then because I took a break from basketball, I had to somehow fulfill my desire of being in the gym. So I just went to the gym to lift weights.
Just on your own accord?
Just on my own. Like I just wanted to go train, lift weights, and I saw some dramatic can't even say the word, dramatic changes in my physique very fast.
Okay. Perfect age for that. For that visible differences to be noticed quite quickly, right? Perfect age.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I just got addicted to the, you know, weights, and I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop.
And I mean, obviously we got people like this, famous people, whether it's Ronnie Coleman, Dorian Yates. I mean, even when I was small growing up, we're the same age, right? And so, you know, looking at the likes of Arnie and so on, and there's always been that there is something alluring to it. But I must confess, you know, if I was 16, 17, obviously basketball didn't work out. Strongman is an interesting direction to go down at that age, because it's not really it's not associated maybe as much with the fame and the glory and the physical prowess necessarily back then, particularly as Strongman is. But you weren't doing the training for Strongman. You were doing it just literally for your own.
I was literally just training to look good, and to get stronger. I was always interested in strength, but I wasn't like focusing on strongman particularly. The first few years I competed in powerlifting.
Yep.
Tried that out. Was always getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Then back in 2009, I tried out strongman and just literally fell in love.
What was it? What was it that made you fall in love with it so quickly?
I guess the fact I was good at it, you know.
Yeah, always helps.
Always helps. In my first ever competition, I broke Icelandic record that still holds today. As carrying a stone, and I remember this feeling, like it's a very good feeling, like feeling like you're the best at something, and that was a very good feeling. And I just like early on in my career, I was just like, hey, I can actually be good at this, and I wanna try to practice this and see how far I can take it. And that was just my first thoughts. Like I wanna, you know, go more all in here and see how far I can take it, because there was always like some prize money that you could get. And I was like, hey, this is interesting. You know, I'm just lifting weights, competing, getting money. You know, this is great.
I almost think that even if it wasn't for the money, I think you'd still probably be doing it, wouldn't you?
Sorry?
I think even if it wasn't for the money, I think you'd probably still do it.
Yeah.
I think you'd still go for it.
Obviously, money is a motivation as well.
Helps, of course.
You know, because you have to pay bills and stuff like that. Yeah. That, I'm just going to be transparent, that did motivate me to keep doing it for like long term, because I saw that I could, you know,
make a living out of it.
Make a living of it.
Yeah.
Stop my normal job and just do that full time. 2 years later, I competed in my first ever competition in Iceland, 2009. 2 years later, I was competing at the World Strongman competition.
Yeah.
The biggest competition.
Amazing.
And I placed 6th. I was the 6th strongest man in the fucking whole world 2 years in.
I mean, people have said
And then I was just like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. I can actually win.
2 years in.
2 years in.
Number 6.
Number 6 in the world.
You were like, right, eyes on number 1. You were going to get to number 1. Did you know it then in your gut? You knew actually, do you know what?
I knew that I could get a lot stronger. I was young. I was 20. I was 22. I was hungry.
Was your diet dialed in at this point?
My diet was just everything. I ate everything. I grew so fast. I went from like 144 kg to like 200 kilograms in 2 years.
God.
I just grew.
Amazing.
And I remember I liked the fact that people was like, when they looked at me like, what? I was just shocked.
I mean, but there are people who have turned around and said, not only were you the world's strongest man, you're quite possibly the strongest man that's ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is an accolade, which is, I mean, it's hard to fathom what that must be like. Also carrying that, like as we've said at the start, that responsibility on your shoulders. But when you were in the strongman, you were really getting into gear. So 2 years in, you placed 6. At what stage from that point onwards did you become the world's strongest man, the Arnold Strong competition, European strongest man, and so on?
So a year later, I placed 3rd, and I actually placed 4 times like throughout my whole career. I've been 4 times in 3rd, 3 times in 2nd, and won it once. So it took me some time to win it. I was always I was fighting against a very strong field of like, I feel like in my years, the level was very strong. There was a lot of strong guys competing. Like one of the strongest person that ever lived on this earth, and is basically called the GOAT of Strongman, Savickas. He was like, it was like his peak. He was like winning and winning and winning when I was like coming up, you know. And also another man who's, you know, considered one of the best ever is also Brian Shaw. He was like, they were like going back and forth. Then I was sometimes like switch places with them. I would maybe take some of the 2nd.
So you were coming up.
And Brian 3rd. Some of the Citroens would be 3rd, and I would be 2nd. I would always be 2nd, like half of them remaining, like 1 point remaining. So close. Fuck. It was so frustrating for so many years.
Yeah, I can imagine. So close,
always
but
fighting between those 2 guys. They would always win, and I would be 2nd, they 3rd, like back and forth for so many years. Finally, 2018, I won.
That was it.
Yeah.
What's like? I mean, for those that aren't familiar with the World's Strongest Man competition, what is life like on the road with it? What is it like in terms of the camaraderie between the other competitors? Is there rivalries? Is it pretty? Are you all separated? Is there because it's an interesting sport insofar as it's a solo sport. So there's not a team as such. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what's it like being on the road with the team and well, not with the team, with the rest of the competitors? And
yeah, I mean, it's I competed in so many competitions throughout my year, and I'd say, in smaller shows, I'd be more like chilling, chatting, having fun, you know, going out with the guys, just like more relaxed stuff, you know. But at the biggest shows, like World's Strongest Man, Arnold Strongman Classic, are more focused, dialed in, and maybe might have not been as friendly. Because,
oh, really?
Because you know, my goal was to win. My goal wasn't there to make friends. My goal there was to win the competition and stay focused and dialed in.
Yeah.
And I also had my family and friends with me, and my coach, and you know, everyone around me was there. So I didn't have the need to like go out and like make friends or like make friendship, even though I knew all the guys and we were all on like most of the time good terms, you know.
Yeah.
Not always, but most of the time good terms, you know. So because I had all the love I needed from my family and friends, I didn't have the need to like seek it from
you didn't need validation from anyone else?
No, like, because I had all my family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my grandparents, you know, my wife, anyone there was always with me, so I had no need of, you know. Yeah.
Obviously you mentioned family traveling around with you at these competitions. My thinking is, you know, what did your parents make of this? Because of course you were finishing your basketball at the age of 17, went out for did partying. Most parents would be like, So what are you going to do for work? You turn around and say, I'm going to be the strongest man. What did your parents make of all of this?
Well, my dad wasn't like the happiest, because of other reasons as well. Because I actually stopped school because I wanted to pursue Strongman.
Really?
Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay.
I stopped school, and he was like, "What are you doing, Thor? You're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing, Thor? Like, you're throwing away your life. Like, you need to finish school. You need to like educate yourself."
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy.
And get into the real world is how they would probably say it, right? Yeah.
I was just like, I told her this, like, I'm very obsessed with this. I want to, be good and make this, make this my life. And he obviously, like, he didn't see my vision. He didn't see where I was going.
Sure.
So he wasn't very keen to it. But then very soon, after competing in my first show, he was very supportive and has always been very supportive in everything I do.
Yeah.
It's just that there was a small doubt there in the beginning,
That's
and then
natural.
after he saw that I had a good potential, in that field, he was all in supporting me.
I'm sure putting on 50 pounds in a year probably also showed that he's not.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Actually, maybe he's serious about
this.
this.
Serious, yeah.
Shit.
I guess you can be okay in this sport.
I think probably, I mean, I don't know if it was, I'm sort of, because I'm a dad as well, right? And I'm sort of thinking if the moment.
If your son would say like,
yeah, I'm
hey,
thinking.
Dad, I'm going to stop school now.
Yeah, I'd be like,
I'm just going to go
no.
lift some weights.
Yeah.
Like, lift some
weights. You can do that after school, son.
No, you finish your school and then you can lift weights.
Yeah, the gym's open till 11. You can go after school.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right,
he's like,
right.
But I think also maybe for me, I would argue, if I was your father, seeing you break world record after world record, I think probably at that point he probably thought my son was probably onto something.
Yes.
What that deadlift?
Yes.
We have to talk about it.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
It's even sort of just. I mean, you can watch it over and over again, and it's still absolutely insane to lift over half a ton.
Yeah.
Eddie Hall famously said, or quite famously said, he said that when he did it, the 500 kilos, he went to a place in his head, which he'll never reveal where that was. It obviously was quite a dark place. Did you find yourself doing something similar?
In honestly, no, I did not.
Okay.
Like the thing is, like, I had prepared myself so well for that lift and been training for so many years prior, and I was in such a good shape. I was so confident. I had such a belief in myself. Like, I had visualized that lift so many times. Like, there was never a moment where I said, what if I fail? What if I won't lift 501? There was never a doubt. I already believed that I was going to lift 501. I already believed that there was nothing in my way. So I was very confident going into it, went into it, and when you're about to pull a weight like that, your mind is almost just like, it's like, yes,
tranquil.
Yes. The story that Addy tells is very sounds great, and it sounds very like.
Because I think also that the video of Eddie doing it with the fact that his fucking nose was bleeding. I mean, the whole thing was, it looked. How can I put this?
I guess the difference is, he went the distance of almost killing himself.
But that's my point. Yeah.
I thankfully did not have to go that distance. Obviously I pushed my body, very far. But I guess I was just strong enough to be able to pull 501 without almost killing myself, and then just walk away happy and be very pleased with myself. Even the day after I trained.
You're kidding.
Well, day after I trained, because I already planned on boxing at a hall. So day after I went and boxed.
You're joking.
No
DOMs?
It was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done, but I was just so determined to get in a better shape because I wanted so badly to
of course
beat Addy, in that boxing match. So I just went training right away.
That's insane. What, the day after?
Fuck. Literally day after I went to the gym and I was punching some bag, bam, 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 and I even ran a little bit.
That's insane.
The dumbest decision I made in my life. Yeah.
You must have been cooked after that boxing
I should
session.
have
You said something there which is quite interesting, which is Eddie very nearly killed himself doing it.
Yeah.
And there has to be a conversation, which is, at what stage does this actually not become healthy? No, when I say healthy, I don't mean from an obsession point of view. I mean from a physical point of view.
Even at my stage, it's not healthy because being that heavy puts a lot of pressure on your body.
What's some of the things that you've had to endure by getting to that to the very pinnacle of the game? What's some of the physical deficiencies is the wrong word, but some of the physical problems that you've had?
I mean, obviously high blood pressure. Some levels in your body not being the best because of you pushing your body through the limits. But I have a good team around me now. I do my blood work at least twice a year. Check my levels, see everything, and I'm actually in a good spot right now. I feel very confident and feel very good about myself right now.
Because it can go too far. We've seen it before.
It can definitely go too far. Having a high blood pressure for too long is obviously not good. We all know that.
And we've seen people recently
passing away.
From it. Yeah.
A lot of fitness influencers have been passing away.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
So I try to be more cautious these days because of my family.
Of course.
I really care about my family. I really want to be here for them.
Yeah. It's so critical, and you do see people push it too far. I also think do you think actually we see people push it too far more often today? Partly in part because of influencing and so on and so forth. That there's almost not unobtainable, but people are pushing it too far sometimes.
100%. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
I think people are constantly pushing themselves too far. Constantly.
But we never saw it in the whether it's taking steroids, like whether it's Anavar, Dianabol, whatever it is, and we saw it in the sort of late 80s with Ronnie, Dorian. They were all pushing it to the very, very maximum, but we didn't see it go too far as much as we're seeing it now. Do you think that's because it's worse now, or it's more documented now, or it's more visible now?
I think even back when they were doing it, they were pushing it too far
as
well. But genetics also play a big role. Some people can just handle the stress more than others.
Yeah, Matt Morcia spoke about this, I think. Matt Morcia from Matt Does Fitness. He spoke about genetics playing so much more of an important role than we give credit for. I think a lot of people say, well, if your diet's on point and if your training's on point, you will get to the physique that you have or that he has. And actually, the reality is you can do all of that and still not get to that level of physique because genetics will play a role. We spoke about injury and getting over injuries. A lot of that is a genetic role as well. 100%. So when you were obviously doing the world's strongest man, smashing every record, how did Game of Thrones come about? Because of course this was kind of at the similar sort of time frame. You were obviously doing the competitions. How did it come about?
Yeah, I was back in 2014 and I was competing a lot.
Yeah.
I think that year or year prior I was competing like competition wise. I had I traveled 14 times internationally and was competing in shows, which is more than one a month.
Having never left Iceland until you were how old? When did you leave Iceland for the first time? Like 15 for the basketball, 15. And now you're doing 14 different countries in a year.
Yeah, literally.
Insane.
Traveling non-stop. going everywhere. Like
Amazing, yeah.
yeah. That was back in 2014, and I think Game of Thrones came back then. So I was not only traveling to compete, but also filming for Game of Thrones, which was very hectic.
Jeez.
And then how that came along was they were actually filming in Iceland, and they were looking for a new guy to act, obviously, so you know, the mountain, and they had heard about me. Obviously, obviously someone had mentioned me to them. You know, there's this guy, tall guy from Iceland, very handsome, very tall, very strong.
And then someone discovered you.
And then someone just discovered me, and they reached out to me.
Amazing.
And I met up with them.
Yeah,
you know, did my audition, and they just really liked me. You know, they really liked me, and I was hired.
Did you know of the books beforehand?
I was watching the show.
Yeah.
Watching the show when they reached out.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And tell me, I mean, obviously it's you must have been used to media attention to a certain extent. Yep. But I would argue that maybe back then it would have been quite specific to people who watch World's Strongest Man and watch physical things. But suddenly you then become globally famous.
Yeah. It's funny because like I never I'm just being completely transparent here. You know, the fame came to me because of me becoming very strong, because of Game of Thrones. I never seek the fame. When I was asked to go on certain shows, go on podcasts early on in my career, I didn't feel the need. I didn't feel the desire. I didn't feel like, I was so busy training, eating, traveling, competing. Everything else, like distractions, I was very like close about it. You know, I wasn't very open to the idea of, you know, early on in my career, obviously people were very interested in me and wanted to talk to me, and I was just like a closed book. Like, no, I'm just training, eating, sleeping, traveling.
That's it.
Working, that's my job.
Repeat. Yeah.
And I was very busy, so I said no to many interviews. I took some, obviously.
Sure.
I took some, but I said no to so many things. I'm more open nowadays. I'm obviously older, wiser. But back when I was younger, I said no to so much. You know?
Really?
Yeah, even like big shows, like.
What are some of the big shows that you didn't do?
Obviously, like Jimmy Fallon, you know, and some of those big American shows, you know.
Yeah.
That it was just like my agent would maybe reach out, like, hey, like, are you interested to go here, and I was just like, yes, I'm interested, but I'm not willing to travel and fuck up my training.
Yeah. Really, I
was that obsessed with training and diet and nutrition. I was like, I live in Iceland and I have to like fly like for what? How many hours? And I'm gonna miss training. I'm gonna miss my meals. I'm not gonna do it.
For things like Jimmy Kimmel.
I was that crazy, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So obviously, with that in mind, filming and doing the shows and traveling with the shows, you said it was filmed in, obviously, famously it's filmed in Dubrovnik, or parts of it filmed in Dubrovnik, then Iceland as well.
Even I was sometimes annoyed at Game of Thrones.
Say again?
Even I was sometimes annoyed at Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you do this?
I took the part.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how much of a work it was.
Right. What did you think? You think you just turn up, read off a few lines, and then go back to the gym?
I had no
or
clue. Like when you do an audition and when you're asked for a job, you have no clue. Obviously, I hadn't like read the books. You know, I had no clue how much it was. You know, how much traveling it was. So I guess early in my career, I was just so obsessed about just my sport.
Yeah.
About getting stronger.
So how did you still keep up the? How did you keep
like
up
in
the?
My contract, it was very like I had a meal every 2 hours.
That's in the contract, is it?
Yeah. And I was probably annoying to work with because I was like, hey,
just a nightmare.
I need a meal.
Already a diva.
Yeah. Oh man, I was just like trying to become the best.
Even in that.
Yeah.
I even look at, and I suppose in some ways you're
I mean, there were times obviously when we were filming and things got dragged out, and maybe I didn't eat for 3-4 hours, but I got annoyed.
I can imagine you got hangry.
I got hangry. I got annoyed. I was like where the fuck?
And of course, I can imagine not many people are going to start pushing back on you and saying, "No, sorry, we've still got another 2 hours of filming. Do you mind?"
Yeah.
What is?
Looking back is funny. Looking back now, today is just funny. I just find it funny.
What was life like on set though? Generally, was it good fun?
It was good.
Yeah,
I had a great time. It was challenging, but definitely fun.
What parts of it were challenging?
Mostly, obviously, wearing the armor, all the makeup I had to go through.
Yeah, I remember that.
There were, especially in the last season, there was a time period where I had to go through 8 hour plus of makeup and then film the whole day.
Jeez.
I almost lost my. I did lose my cool. I did. I almost went crazy around that time because I would wake up at like 2 a.m.
Right.
Go for makeup.
Yeah.
Makeup for 8 hours, then film the whole day, and I barely slept. So, and I didn't train. I didn't eat. I lost like 20 kilograms in that period.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah, and so I definitely lost my cool. I spoke to some people and said like, hey, this is. I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with this.
And what did they do? Fixed it?
There was nothing really to fix. This was just how it was. God. So I got the job done, but it was very challenging, difficult. Difficult for an athlete. Like if I wasn't,
that's what I was going to ask.
If I wasn't an athlete, I would just suck it up and do it. But I was just so frustrated seeing my gains go. So frustrated, not being able to eat and train.
So it's interesting to say this. So I was watching. I tell you what I watched a couple of weeks ago. One of my favorite films of all time, Predator.
Yeah.
Interestingly, it wasn't supposed to be Arnie. It was supposed to be JCVD. Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to play the role that Arnie played, but he got so pissed off on the filming that he didn't get time to eat what he wanted. He didn't get time to train. And he was just very difficult apparently. That they just said, right, that's it. We're going to find someone else. And that's when Arnie came in. And then, because you could never imagine Predator the film without Arnie. It just wouldn't be the same, right? Yeah. But it's interesting what you say. Like, did it almost get you to the stage where you thought, actually, do you know what? This acting stuff ain't for me. Or did you think, actually, no, do you know what? If I can actually see myself juggling.
I said no to so many acting roles, probably because of that. I was like this is so. I like it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me at that time.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can imagine.
Because of Strongman.
Yeah.
So when my agent was like, hey, I have this role here. Hey, I have this role here. I have this role here for you. I was just saying no.
How many roles are you getting offered?
Back then,
in
2014, a lot.
Really?
Because the fight scene was so popular.
Yeah.
And so many people wanted me back then. So back then, a lot. Like I was working so much. I was traveling so much for like Comic Cons, commercials, whatever. I was so busy. Like every single month was just fully booked. And so I said no to a lot of acting stuff. Because of I just put Strongman first.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I want to win the World Strongest Man.
Which you then did.
Which I then did. Obviously, even back then, even though I was so busy during that time period, even like 2014, 15, 16, 17, I was traveling nonstop, doing so many things, doing so many commercials, doing so many Comic Cons and whatsoever. I was still placing third, second.
And you're up against people who are doing nothing else but training. I mean, they're not acting on the side. They're not running another business. I mean, they're just dedicated to this, and you're still coming second and third.
Yeah. So finally, 2018, I was like,
I'm gonna absolutely dial it in.
I need to like pause some of this stuff, say no to more stuff, and then I finally won.
It's absolutely incredible. And then, of course, we spoke briefly about Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw, but with Eddie Hall, boxing. Now you've made the move to come out of Strongman do less Strongman and much more boxing now. How's that been? What's that been like for you? As in, obviously, it's still very physical, but it's a different physicality.
100%. It's just black and white.
Is it really?
Strongman and boxing. completely different sports.
Say more.
Completely different sports. You know, obviously being a strongman, you have to be super strong.
Obviously. Yeah.
It's very beneficial to be
Yeah.
heavy and big, you know.
Heavy. Yeah, that's
Heavy
it.
and big
Yeah.
is very beneficial, can help you a lot. In boxing, you want to be light on your feet, you want to have insane endurance, you want to, there's so many things, so much technique, so much running, so much training. I was training 3 times a day for long periods, then 2 times a day as well. So I would usually run in the mornings.
How long are we talking? How far we run?
Depends. Like in the beginning, half an hour, and I work myself up to like sometimes hour. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Fasted or?
Yeah, I fasted in the mornings. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I would go home, eat breakfast, do my stuff, and then train around 12, 1 o'clock again. Boxing training.
Yeah.
And then usually around like 4, 5 p.m. I would do strength and conditioning.
Okay.
Jesus. And I would just train like a maniac like that throughout for 2 years literally. For 2 years I would do that.
Yeah.
Obviously make a massive change. I saw a massive change in my body. I lost a lot of
Mass
weight.
going down.
A lot of mass going down.
Yeah.
But I kept a good amount of mass as well. But a lot of mass went away. I went from being 205 kilograms to 144 kg. So
That's a big change, yeah.
I've lost. I lost. A good amount of weight.
Are you doing this with? You're doing this with the team. I'm guessing.
Obviously, I have a coach, nutritionist, massage therapist. You know, people around me that are there. Sparring partners. You know, I would. Sparring partners are very important. Like it's funny. Like in the beginning, like first few months of me going into boxing, everyone wanted to spar me. People would just come in like for free, spar me because I was bad. Like I was bad, but the thing is, as the months progressed, people were like,
yeah, because obviously
fuck this, I'm not gonna spar half Thor. So it was more challenging to find people to spar as the months and a year passed up, because the better I got, the less of people wanted to come spar me. So I had to pay people. So I had to like pay professionals to spar me.
What's your reach?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's gonna, because it's, of course, like even that as well. There's a famous. It's got like 70 odd million views. The video of you in sparring. Somebody, I had to laugh that I saw the comments of this. That so the most like comment is somebody saying neither are connecting, and they've both got their own good reasons for not connecting. I mean, I can imagine sort of getting sparring partners back then would have been. You'd have to go professional, right? Of course.
Yeah, I was just like I was very. I picked a very good coach, Billy Nelson.
Okay, yeah.
And he had a good team around him, and he knew a lot of heavyweight professionals, and I would basically, and he also had a man in his corner that's top 10 in the heavyweight division that I sometimes sparred, very good guy. So I would just literally fly guys over, spar them, fly them to Iceland, fly them to Scotland. I would go back and forth.
Yeah.
I would train in Iceland with my coach. I would fly my coach over and a team with him, a few guys to spar with, a few training partners. And then we would sometimes fly to Scotland, and I would stay there at an Airbnb or whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I would fly guys there, or like some guys, maybe a few sometimes like 2 guys, 3 guys, and I would switch them out. I would like spar one guy for 1 round, then another guy would come in for 3 rounds.
You're joking.
Yeah, and
so it's just like a conveyor belt.
Would always come fresh in, and I would be like,
but it's good.
Usually, like the third guy, he would like get some beating on me because I would be a little bit fatigued at that round.
Yeah, of course.
They would always come in fresh.
But you're not doing 12. You're doing more than 12 rounds, though. Surely, if you're getting more and more people coming in.
No, so each training sessions, depending, like I would do, up to like 8 rounds sometimes, but never more, because my boxing was my fight was only 6 rounds.
Okay.
Usually, like amateurs, beginners, they only do, I think, like 4 rounds maximum.
I mean, that's enough there to.
Yeah, but we did 6 rounds.
Yeah, that's.
Even though that was like our first big fight, we did 6 rounds.
Whose idea was it? Yours or Eddie's? Whose count?
The rounds?
No. The fight itself.
The fight itself.
Yeah.
It was a promoter that reached out to us.
Okay.
And came up with the idea of us fighting, and I was like, I told him, well, you know, if the money is right, if Eddie's down, I'm down.
Amazing.
And so the conversation just started, and then it was just like, you know, agreed, and then you went ahead with it.
I think most people, when they think of boxing, probably put certain physiques in their mind.
Yeah. I mean, most guys are fucking ripped as hell because you run so much, you train like a maniac. Like, the training is so intense.
I mean, of course, but famously, Tyson Fury is
he
not.
is a funny physique.
But he's, you know, and I love the guy too. I like he's awesome. But I mean, in some ways, he's a complete contradiction. You know, insofar as the size of him, his weight that he had, but the comparative speed of footwork. And this is something I think somebody commented on you actually, was that your footwork was, they said, surprisingly quick. And again, this is sort of coming back to getting trained in or sort of training up for these types of things. You seem to quite quickly adapt physically to things. I mean, you said that you gained weight in such a short period of time when you were younger. Next thing you know, you're standing at 6'9" and you've got the footwork of a professional boxer within a few months of, well, a bit more than a few months of training. I mean, it seems to be almost part of your, you know, you take these things quite quickly. Would that be fair?
I'm a good athlete. I would say that for sure. I'm a good athlete, and I would, if I would try anything athletic, if I put my mind and effort into it, I believe I could be good at it. You know, I'm a very good athlete, fast learner when it comes to athletic stuff. Always have been. I had a good teacher as well. I had a very good teacher, good sparring partners. I mean, I was sparring with guys that were sparring against, you know, Tyson Fury and the best. Yeah. And even though I was getting beat in the gym, I knew I was gonna, if I'm sparring against these guys, I'm gonna up. There's no way he's gonna beat me if I'm sparring these guys. I know he's not sparring.
You did though.
Yeah, I know.
You really
he's not sparring guys this level. There's no way.
But Eddie's not professional.
If he is, good for him. But I'm at least going against some good guys in the gym. You know, getting my ass beat. Yeah. But I know if I get my ass beat in the gym, you know, I know sometimes I had the upper hand as well against good guys as well. Sometimes, you know, there were knockouts in the gym. There were like, sometimes they had to stop, you know, the box. Hey, stop. Yeah. Just like things went out, like
of course, you know?
But yeah.
Is it something you can? I mean, you've done a few fights now.
Yeah.
Is it something? I mean, we have to be sort of conscious of age as well. Like, is it something that you want to do more fully, or there's another question: swap the ring for the octagon?
No.
Why not?
Because it's just a whole nother thing, you know. It's just I would have to learn so many, like grappling and so much. It's so much more, and I'm turning 35.
Yeah.
There have been, I'm not gonna lie, sit here and lie. There has been some promoters reaching out to me and saying, hey, I have this fight possibly for you. Would you be interested? And I always go to the thing, you know, well, because the thing is, training for this isn't easy. I'm not willing to sacrifice years or months of like training like insane because I have to put everything else on hold.
Yeah, right. And does that include family as well, I guess?
Family and everything. I was away for so long. So I'm not doing this for free, you know. I got paid.
Yeah, of course.
And paid recently, you know, paid well. So I've had opportunities where I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna say no, but you gotta pay me well.
Yeah, sure.
What I got the opportunity of fighting Tyson Fury.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine what
they were trying to be like. They came up with, you know, a plan, a fee, a lower fee.
The purse of that would have been huge.
The thing is, they offered me a base salary.
Yeah.
Of a fee less than I got against Eddie Hall.
Less.
Less.
But that's a base salary. But you'd also get pay-per-views as well, right?
No, they didn't want to see that either. So I was just like, wait a minute, how am I gonna agree to this? Fighting the best heavyweight boxer of all time, and getting less paid than a guy against Eddie Hall. Yeah, I appreciate him willing to fight me, and yes, like I'll go.
I think
and
we need
I'll
to
do it, but at least pay me accordingly, you know.
Yeah, but they
They didn't offer me that. You know, so.
I think boxing is. I mean, whether you look at Usyk and Fury, or even Deontay Wilder and Fury. Fury brings in the punters, right? He will bring in the.
I mean, he would.
But you would as well. This is my point. Like, as in the like, it would make.
I think if me and Fury would have ever fought, I think that would have been a very interesting fight because he has the best heavyweight of all time. But me, someone that he has never faced, someone very big, someone heavier.
You're heavier than him.
Yes,
much heavier than him. Yeah.
And also, when you're heavier, even though your punches might look slow, the punches are like.
Well, they're going through you.
Weight behind the punch.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like. So I don't know. Like, obviously, his footwork, his ring IQ, his boxing skills are above my skills. But it would be an interesting match for sure.
Oh man, I just think that would be such an awesome fight to watch. Definitely. I mean, there've been some fights that I've really enjoyed watching. I was a bit disappointed we didn't see the Conor Ben fight.
Obviously.
What's your take on all of that? Because obviously PEDs and performance enhancing drugs are I mean, it's an open secret. We all know it. How do you think the WF, other federations and other bodies, how do you think they're managing this open secret in the boxing world, but also in MMA as well? How do you think they're handling that? Well or not?
The drug testing? I mean, I don't know exactly how they handle it, but I know that, you know, guys are being drug tested randomly without them knowing. So some guys might be trying to get away with using some enhancing.
We saw Dylan White recently as well.
Yeah. And there's a lot of drugs out there that you can use, and it's just like in and out of the body. But what if you just use it and they're just around the corner?
Yeah, well, quite exactly. Yeah. And I think, do you think it's time now for these federations and governing bodies to have a real public conversation, a public discussion about it? Because it's obviously happening, and what I'm saying is should we accept it as a norm and have a separation between fighters who are using and who are not?
That's an interesting question. That'd be fun though.
Well,
I
listen,
I think it'd be fun because the thing is, it'd be funny to see if there would be any difference in fighters. That's my take on it. It'd be funny to see like would the guys taking in enhancing drugs be much better, or would the guys that are natural, you know, be equally as good?
And would it bring in? Let's be honest, the viewers.
Would it get more views for the guys that are like more muscular?
Yeah, right.
Better shape. Like that's actually a good question, and I, as a fan of boxing, it's a difficult question. I don't know. I honestly think it could be fun.
I think so do I.
Yeah.
And I think if it's done,
it would just make things more interesting.
Well, it would make things more interesting, and I think given that boxing is as much a sport as it is entertainment, we've seen that with the YouTubers, whether it's KSI, Logan Paul, or whoever. Who, by the way, against Nate Diaz. Did Nate Diaz even bother turning up? I didn't really see the.
Yeah, he turned up, but honestly, I was shocked by the fact of lack of preparation that obviously Nate Diaz put into that fight. I thought he looked bad. I thought
when he got his I
thought he wasn't in shape.
No, he wasn't in shape. That's exactly the first thought I had.
I felt like it looked like he didn't train for this fight.
It looked like he didn't care.
It looked like he didn't care, and it looked like I don't know. He just didn't look good. Like his punches very
feeble.
Look sharp. His footwork wasn't sharp. It was just my honest opinion when I was watching this fight. I was like, this doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
Like the fight prior, there was like women fighting. Like
Yeah.
that fight looked 10 times better. Like sorry,
It's true,
like, I'm
right?
being honest, you know.
I didn't.
I was like, shit, it doesn't look good. Like
It's
like
so
Nate
true.
Diaz wasn't prepared. Obviously, like Jake Paul has only been in the sport for a few years. Like
Yeah.
he's made some good progress, but I'm just gonna be honest. Like if Nate Diaz would have trained properly for this fight, I think he would have won.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like he underestimated Jake Paul a lot. Was just around, not training, probably just drinking, having fun.
Dude, I looked at his physique and it looked. And listen, I can't comment, right? Like I'm not, but then also I'm not a professional fighter. I just thought like the Nate Diaz versus McGregor versus that Nate Diaz. I just thought, Jesus, like it's not a great look.
Obviously, Nate Diaz is first and foremost a MMA fighter, or competes in UFC.
Yeah.
So it's a different sport.
Yeah, of course.
But then again, he's more of a striker than a ground person.
Yeah, that's true.
He more uses his hands than
Yeah.
being on the ground. And I didn't think he looked good. I
No,
thought
it's
he looked
crazy, isn't it?
off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so with the boxing, you said you're not going to go into the octagon. That's not something you could see yourself doing.
No.
We'd like to see it.
You like to see it?
Yeah, I think it'd be good fun.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good fun. I just can't think who you'd be paired with.
I just
Like if you're not grappling and if you're not into Brazilian
the
Jiu-Jitsu.
thing is,
yeah.
I'm turning 35, and when I do stuff, I do it well. Like I would have to obviously train boxing, train grappling, train so many different things that it takes so much time. Yeah.
So what you? I mean, obviously your schedule. I haven't even seen it, and I can only imagine what it's like. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. I mean, you're here 1 minute, you're there next minute. You've got so many things on the go. You've got the YouTube channel, you've got the gym, you've got the drinks, you've got all these different business ventures. How are you dividing up your time? How do you manage your time? Are you doing it? Are you outsourcing it? How are you doing all that?
I have businesses. I have,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I have skier product. You know,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Thors skier.
yeah.
Which is taking a lot of my time as well. I'm flying to the States a lot because we're getting in more and more store. We're in over 2,000 stores right now, and probably we're growing rapidly right now. We'll probably be in over 4,000 stores by the end of the year. And so yeah, it's busy, but it's good.
Yeah.
I love my life. You know, I wouldn't change anything. Yeah.
And so obviously with your hair transplant that you did. I just wanted to speak a little bit about that and get some understanding as to why you got it done initially in the first place. I know we touched on it at the start, but what you've made of the process, how you're gonna the post-op recovery. You're now going through the second post-op recovery. Tell me a little bit. What was the genesis of getting it done?
So obviously, it always bothered me that I was losing my hair. It truly did, you know. But I thought about I thought about it slightly, but it wasn't until Salva reached out to me. He's Icelandic, by the way, and a great guy, the owner of
Owner of Vinci,
Vinci Hair Clinic. And when he reached out to me and asked if I was interested, I was like, yeah, I am.
Where do you think that comes from, by the way, for guys like to have that sort of that not obsession of hair, but why hair plays such a vital role for guys particularly? Where do you think that comes from? I mean, we can go back to the Bible of Samson. I mean, the stories are there. Where do you think that comes from? Why do you think it's?
I mean, I guess it plays a different role in every single man, but some men, obviously, even though I never have a lot of hair, but it gives you a good confidence of I think most men, when they lose their hairs, their confidence goes sometimes a bit down, but then you can maybe learn to live with it. But when I got the opportunity of getting a hair transplant, I thought it was a no-brainer because I want to keep my hair. I want to. It's like a part of you that you want to keep.
Yeah. It was exactly. I mean, it was the same for me as well, insofar as. But I also think, do you think we're becoming more aesthetically driven? So, for example, who made the decision to get it done? Was it actually you making the decision, or was it
Obviously me.
Yeah,
Like,
well, was the society at large making that decision?
I'm the one that makes the decision for myself. But there was this, there was the opportunity that I got that I took. And I don't regret it.
No. I mean,
obviously not.
no.
I'm very,
I mean, it's the reason I say that is because I one of the when I did the podcast and I was asked about it, I sort of had and this was 4 days after the surgery. I thought to myself, had I not been exposed to so much imagery and visual imagery of guys who've got really good hair, would I have really given about it? Or, so what I'm saying is did I make the decision by myself insofar as like this is something that I want to do for myself, or was I thinking comparing? I think I said this to you earlier. Comparison is the thief of joy. Comparing myself to other guys, it's a question I haven't got the answer to yet for myself. So post surgery, I mean, it's the day after. Obviously, got to rest up. First night sleep at the 45-degree angle. For me, it was a nightmare the first 5 days, but it does get better. Any more surgeries that you're going to be going through? Any other aesthetic improvements that you're looking at?
Not to think about right now. I just did my first Botox. That's not surgery.
No.
But just a treatment, I guess. I got a Bell's palsy many years ago, back in 2017.
That's right.
And
yeah.
I was being told that Botox can actually help with that.
Is that right? How so?
Right.
How so?
They can somehow inject in the areas that are more leaking, and somehow make the facial expressions look more even.
Okay.
With time, so I just tried it, and I'm just because.
When did you do it?
Where?
When?
Like a week ago in Chicago. No, not in Chicago, in Michigan.
Okay. Yeah. How was Chicago? It's a cool city, isn't it?
Michigan. I did.
You did it in Michigan, the state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was in Birmingham. Birmingham,
okay. Interesting.
In Michigan, yeah.
First time getting Botox.
First time getting Botox. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I keep getting told to do it myself. I don't feel that. No. She keeps thinking I need to get it done. I don't. I like to think that I look alright, but I don't know.
I was the same as you.
Okay,
for a long time. I was just like, nah, why do I need a Botox?
Yeah, right.
Man, I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
I'm okay with my wrinkles. No need. I'm happy with my face and everything. But then when they said it can actually help with your Bell's palsy,
then it's a bit different.
I was like, okay, well,
Has that been? Obviously, it's not. It's not noticeable.
No, but when I smile, when I talk about it right now, then you start to.
Well, was there any insecurities as a youngster that you had with it, or not so much?
So back in 2017, I got Bell's palsy. Yeah, I mean there were insecurities, and also because I looked so mean when I got it, because I had no expressions in half my face. And it did affect me a little bit, but I got used to it.
Yeah. Where are you? So when you're flying off to, where are you flying off to next?
So tomorrow I go back home to Iceland.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I go back home to Iceland and just take care of business. Take care of business, and take care of my gym, take care of my businesses and my work.
Yeah. You reckon you're gonna? So obviously living full time in Iceland. Mm-hmm. You is that you're gonna stay there, or are you gonna move to the US?
I think. Because I have so much in Iceland.
Yeah.
I have my house in Iceland. I have my summer house in Iceland. I have my
family still there?
Huh?
Family still there? Parents?
Family still there. I have everything there. I have my gym there. I have my summer house there. I have my house there. Like I have everything there. So it's difficult for me to move. I would have I've thought about like having a second home in Canada at some point.
Okay. Why Canada specifically?
Why Canada? Because my wife is Canadian.
Okay. Yeah.
And we go there every summer. She goes for a long time. She goes for at least 6 weeks.
Yeah.
With her son. I went for 2 weeks. I have a hard time staying
in one place.
Staying away from. I like to stay in routine.
Yeah.
I also just like to work. I need to stay active. I need to I love my life. I like, like what I'm doing. You know.
The devil makes work for idle thumbs. You know what I mean? If you're not doing something, probably doing something wrong. So you need to keep going, right?
Keep active.
I know.
If I'm just sitting on the beach doing nothing.
Dude, honestly, I can't do that. I can't do beach. I can't do beach holidays.
For maybe like 2 weeks of vacation, I'm just like, okay, I'm happy to go home and just like do something. You know.
I find it. I can't do it. I can't sit on a beach for 2 weeks. I don't know how people do that as well. So they go down at like 9 a.m. to the beach, and dude, they don't leave till like 6 p.m. What the hell's wrong with these people? like, dude, honestly, like, what, like, surely, like.
Yeah, I could never do that.
No, I could
never do that. Like, thankfully we didn't do that. Thankfully we just like, we're just traveling around Canada and doing different things. But yeah.
Do you know, one of the things I wanted to do in Canada was, like I said to you, get the train, do the train across the Rockies with my dad and my boy as well. But I also think, like, for hiking, outdoor activities, it's just the best place in the world, isn't it?
100%, good place to go. 100%. I love Canada, and I will probably travel a lot more there, obviously, in the future.
Yeah. Cool. All right, brother. Well, listen, love it to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.